One of my proudest moments in the early days, I would have to say it was when I was in the Boy Scouts. And the Boy Scouts getting the very first merit badge and all that. I was in Troop 213 at Our Lady of Sorrows, Lower East Side, Manhattan. And it basically happened one day when we were all camping in upstate, a place called 10 Mile River. And one late afternoon, the scoutmaster said, "Hey Alberto, you see that pond? Why don't you catch us a fish and feed the troop?" And obviously he knew that I loved to fish. He goes, "Yeah, go get a bunch of fish and see if you could feed the troop." And, and I came back that night with a basket full of fish. I had sunfish, I had bluegills, I had yellow perch, I had catfish, and largemouth bass, and man, we ate like pigs. And the next morning, the scoutmaster woke me up with an instructor, and he basically says, "Come here, we have something for you." And I got up and I said, "Yes." So they handed me my very first merit badge. It was a fishing merit badge, and I said, "No, I can't accept it. I can't accept it." And he goes, "What are you talking about?" And I said, No, I have to earn it. I know what it takes. I needed to catch 3 fish with artificial lure. I need to know how to prepare a fish, how to fillet a fish, and all that." And they look at each other like, "No, Alberto, you did earn it." And I tell you, I felt so good and so honored, and I will never forget that. On a competition level and tournament, there is a place called Montauk, and that's the end of Long Island, New York, and Montauk happens to be the world's capital surf casting place, and the best of the best surf casters would go there the last 3 months of the year, and they would just catch a lot of fish. But that tournament, it was the Montauk local tournament, very prestigious, and one of the locals basically says to me, "Ha! You're a hack! You're no good, you're a Googan." And that word Googan, it hurt me, because essentially what that word Googan means, you don't know anything, you're a beginner, you're just not a contender. And I felt bad because I've written so many articles in the past. I gave tips on how to catch big fish, how to catch a lot of fish, and I was really hurt. So next day I made several calls, and I contacted 2 of the tournament directors, and they were shocked that I even wanted to participate. And I said, "I really want to participate in this tournament." And sure enough, they sent me an invitation by mail, and I accepted. I paid my dues, and that tournament consisted of over 200 participants. So on the end of the tournament, I actually placed first, second, and third. And basically that kept everybody mouth shut, and I proved to everyone that I am a contender and a winner, and that was kind of interesting. And I will probably not participating in any more of those tournaments, because it was one of those kill tournaments, and there aren't that many big fish around anymore. One of my biggest achievements happened in May. It was at a place called Shinnecock Canal, that is in the Hamptons of New York. I caught the world record 8-pound test striped bass. It weighed 45 pounds. And basically what happened was I got lucky. I was chasing weakfish, which is a sea trout, and the month of May, there's a good migration also passes through, heading out to Peconic Bay. And on that night, had my light tackle, and I would look under the shadow lines, and basically if you pay close attention, the big ones would swim along the edge, and all you have to do is just flick your jig and just land a few. But on that night I looked down, and it was the biggest I mean, the biggest weak fish, and I couldn't believe that my heart was pounding. And I looked back and I couldn't find her, and I looked out and I saw her tail waving goodbye at me, swimming away, and I flicked the jig out there and bang! My drag started screaming, and my heart was beating faster, and I'm like, oh my god, this is a nice fish. Everybody came over to me and goes, what you got, what you got, what you got? I said, it's a nice fish. He goes, how big? And for 15 minutes or so, walking left and 200 yards to the right, and finally I said, get the net, get the net, get the net, get the net. And somebody came in with a little net, and I said, give me a bigger net. And they gave me this big net. I netted up 2 hands, popped it, dropped it on the floor, and it was a big bass. And everybody gave me high fives and everything else, and it was fun. And everybody says, "Whoa, that's a 50-pounder." I says, "No, it's a big bass." But so on the end of the day, next morning, I got a call from a friend of mine who is the IGFA representative, and he says, "Hey, Alberto, what is this that I hear that you caught a nice big bass?" And I said, "Yeah, it's a nice bass. It is." He goes, "But how did you know?" He goes, "Word gets around. How big is that bass?" I said, "I don't know. It's a very big bass." And he goes, "Does it break 40 pounds?" I said, "Oh my God, that fish dwarfs a 40 pounder. He goes, "Well, come and meet me. Bring me the fish. Bring me your tackle, and let me see it." So I handed in the fish. I gave him my tackle, and 6 months later, I got the certificate that I did break the world record. Now, why am I perfect for top hooker? Well, it's kind of obvious. I know I could do it. I know I could beat anybody. I can fly fish. I can do kayak fishing. I can hand line. I fish from party boats. I do extreme fishing, surf casting, offshore, pelagic. There's not a whole lot of different kind of techniques that I haven't done, and I do it very well. And I will rise to any occasion, and it will be incredibly challenging to me. But basically, why I would do it, it's not because I want to pound my chest. It's I want people to be proud. My friends and my family members, my beautiful young daughter Simone, and the lady that I'm seeing, Elizabeth. She has 2 beautiful kids. That's Dylan and Leah. And I just want them to be proud. And ultimately, if I were to be accepted, you know, I'm a lot of fun, incredibly competitive, and if it can promote the sport of fishing, that is tremendously a plus. I mean, just consider me this. I could be the Mr. Miyagi in Top Hooker, and I'll give you a straight face. Look at me. Wax on, wax off.